One morning in early 1967, John Lennon sat at his piano with a copy of the Daily Mail newspaper propped up in front of him. He began reading about the tragic death of Tara Brown.
I read the news today, oh boy.
A 21-year-old Irish aristocrat, Guinness beer heir, and close friend of the Beatles who had recently crashed his Lotus sports car in London. While the tragic accident was real, the song's lyrics painted a slightly fictionalized picture. John did not copy the exact crash report. Instead, he used the young man's passing as a creative springboard, blending the tragedy with his own surreal imagery. Paul McCartney later noted that while John had Tara in mind, he was actually picturing a drug-addled politician who failed to notice the traffic light changing. On that same newspaper page, a mundane snippet in the brief news column caught John's eye. A local surveyor had counted 4,000 potholes in the streets of Blackburn, Lancashire. John was instantly amused by the sheer absurdity of counting every single hole in a town's roads. He and Paul began playing with the idea, but they had trouble wrapping up the verse. Their friend Terry Doran suggested linking the potholes to the Royal Albert Hall, asking how many holes it would take to fill the massive venue. This whimsical, nonsensical puzzle became the crowning lyric of the song's final verse, transforming a boring civic road report into a piece of psychedelic poetry.
Now they know how many holes it takes to fill the Albert Hall.
The track is also famous for being a true hybrid of two different songs. John had his melancholic acoustic verses ready, but the composition desperately needed a middle section. Paul had been working on a completely separate, upbeat piano fragment about his childhood school days, featuring a boy rushing to catch a bus, smoking a cigarette, and drifting into a dream. They decided to sandwich Paul's fast-paced section right into the middle of John's dreamlike track. To bridge the two wildly different worlds, they came up with a line about wanting to turn the listener on, which they both knew was a direct nod to drug culture. The phrase was so provocative for 1967 that the BBC famously banned the song from the airwaves. To fill the empty gaps between their sections, the band decided to record a massive, chaotic orchestral swell. They hired a 40-piece classical orchestra and gave them a highly unusual instruction. Start at the lowest note on your instrument and slowly play your way up to the highest note. To ease the tension of the classically trained musicians who were baffled by this avant-garde concept, the Beatles threw a party in the studio. The classical players were told to wear formal evening attire alongside goofy party items, resulting in a room full of violinists and brass players wearing fake red noses, paper hats, and gorilla paws, while guests like Mick Jagger and Keith Richards looked on. The masterpiece concludes with what is arguably the most famous final chord in rock history. John, Paul, Ringo, their roadie Mal Evans, and producer George Martin crowded around 3 different pianos and a harmonium to strike a massive E major chord simultaneously. They held the chord, letting it ring out and decay for over 40 seconds, as the sound naturally faded into silence. The studio engineers continuously slid the volume faders up to capture the absolute last drop of vibration. The faders were pushed so high by the end that the hum of the Abbey Road studio's air conditioning unit was permanently captured on the final track. It's safe to say that this song pushed the boundaries of what a pop band could achieve in a recording studio, permanently shifting the landscape of modern music.